Coming up on City Spotlight, we're on location for another episode on Shelbyville. We'll start this episode talking about Shelbyville Schools with Superintendent of Shelbyville Schools, Denise Bence, and Shelbyville High School Principal, Shane Schuricht, about current programs taking place at the high school and throughout the district. Plus, changes to the Shelbyville School District starting next school year. Then we'll talk about the arts in Shelbyville with Carol Kessler, and we'll preview the 53rd Shelby County Art Show. We're talking all about Shelbyville for this on-location episode here on City Spotlight. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com. And welcome to another edition of City Spotlight. As you can see, we are on location once again, this time in Shelbyville. And in this first segment, we're going to talk all about Shelbyville Schools, and we are pleased to welcome back to the program Denise Bence, Superintendent of Shelbyville Schools. Welcome back to the program, Denise.
Thanks.
And Shane Schuricht, Shelbyville High School Principal. Shane, great to see you again.
Great to see you again, too.
Awesome to be here in Shelbyville, and we're going to talk about a variety of things here in this first segment here on City Spotlight. In the first part, we're going to talk about the current 2018-19 school year in Shelbyville, and then the second part with Shane and Denise, we're going to talk about some upcoming changes in the school district. But first off, while we're taping in this exact location, the superintendent's office, the district building here in Shelbyville. We talked last year at the beginning of 2018, and one of the things we talked about was social emotional learning in Shelbyville. A year later, how did it all work out in the district? I'll start with you, Denise.
Well, it's obviously still an ongoing project. It's something that we just try to get better and better at every year, is recognizing the needs our kids have and how we best serve those. Mm-hmm. One thing we've done a lot of work around this year is trauma-informed practices. So we realize that a lot of our kids come to school having, been traumatized by a lot of different things, whether it's, strife or things going on at home or just things they've been exposed to. Just recognizing that and understanding how we can help them when they come to school. So our teachers have done lots of in-services. We've at every building it looks a little different because you treat elementary kids obviously differently than you do at the high school, but it's just something that's really needed and that we will continue to work on.
All right, so that training that the teachers have gotten to be able to deal with this is paying off obviously here in year two. Shane, at the high school, you told us last time we talked, freshman focus, and now it's in year two. How's it working out over at the high school?
It's going pretty well. As we talked about last time, it's designed to help our students transition from the middle school to the high school, how to be successful not only in high school, but successful throughout life. And first year we had the program, and since then we've implemented other things, and it's going to be something we continue to build off of. And when we talk to the kids at the end of the course, they tell us it's helpful. So that means we're heading in the right direction, and we're going to continue to offer it to all of our incoming freshmen in future years.
Very good. That's year two of freshman focus. To our audience at home, you're seeing this at the beginning of April here, 2019. Also in its second year of existence here in Shelby County is the CEO program. So how's that going year two, Shane?
Very good. We have 15 kids throughout the county who are involved in the CEO program, and it's just tremendous to see the different things they're doing. The relationships they're forming with local businesses, local mentors, the different projects that they're coming up with, and then they have a big project they do together, a murder mystery that they did in January. It's just really neat to see these kids in a non-traditional setting excelling and being excited about the things that they're doing.
A little over a year ago, we touched upon 3 or 4 school districts that have the CEO program, and it's a big part of what they're doing now. And that only works if you have the support and cooperation of the local businesses. The support of the local businesses to be a part of this program, that's a big part of making it happen.
It wouldn't happen without them.
All right, very good. Denise, one of the programs that you talked about the very first time you came on City Spotlight a few years back was the mentoring program, and I understand that that takes place over at the junior high. How's that going?
Right. It still continues to be just an awesome program. And again, I know I've said this before when I met on the program, we have great community support for our district. And if we have kids that need a mentor, we always have plenty of people who are willing to, come in at lunchtime a lot of times, have lunch with the kids once a week, or sometimes they go out on the playground, throw a football, just checking in to see how things are going, encouraging them. We do know from trauma-informed practices that sometimes what really matters is if kids have one important adult that they can count on. And so we feel like the mentoring program can do that.
Excellent. Great to hear about the mentoring programs in all the school districts. The kids can certainly use that support. Before we talk about upcoming changes moving forward in the Shelbyville School District, are there any other programs or things you'd like to highlight in the current school year here in Shelbyville?
Well, one thing that we're gearing up for today, or gearing up for in the near future, is our Senior Community Day. On April 9th, all of our students, freshmen through junior, they're going to be taking state testing, SAT, and then the pre-SAT examinations. A couple years ago, we started, since our seniors are not part of that testing, we started what we call the Senior Community Day program, and all of our seniors are assigned to one of 4 or 5 locations in our community, and the idea is that on that day they're going to go out and work. They're going to give back to their community. Our community does so much for us. This is just one of those ways for our seniors right before they graduate to give back a little bit to their community. So that's what's coming up. That's what we're working on right now for April 9th.
All right, that'll be around the time folks are seeing this at home. Very good. All right, moving forward here in the Shelbyville School District, we have a couple of changes, and they both involve you two wonderful people that have been on the program multiple times. Denise, you are retiring at the end of June as superintendent here after 9 years, and Shane, you are moving from being the high school principal to the superintendent's position, so you would start the beginning of July. Is that correct?
July 1 is
July 1. All right, very good. And we'll start with you, Denise. 9 years as the superintendent and 20 plus years, if my math or what you told me.
We don't have to be exact on that number, yeah.
But nearly a decade as the superintendent here in Shelbyville, and this was the right time for you to move on next stage?
Right. I do feel that way. It's been my greatest pleasure to serve in this role. I mean, I think we have, and I know I said this, I sound like a broken record, but we have a wonderful community, a great school district, just a great staff of teachers who are talented and compassionate, and support staff, administrative staff, a great, very supportive board. So I feel like we're in a good spot, and Shane's going to inherit a great district. And I'm sure he'll do a good job. Some of the things I'm really proud of over the last 9 years, we all know that the funding from the state of Illinois has been pretty tenuous, to say the least. And we've weathered that and not had to cut any programs, kept our class sizes small, and I feel like we've also done about $6 million of building renovations that were more than needed. So we've come through that. We're hopefully on the right track with the evidence-based funding and that whole structure changing. So I think we're in a really good spot to just keep going forward. And I think this is a great time to transition to Shane.
You mentioned the facilities upgrades, I believe, on the first time you came on the program, and to be able to navigate through some challenging times, congratulations. That is a major accomplishment. What's next for you after you retire?
Well, I don't feel like I'm ready just to quit. So I look forward to finding some kind of part-time position. I started out originally as a school psychologist, and part of my thought is to maybe go back, make a big full circle and go back and serve in that capacity again somewhere. I really would like to get back to a place where I'm working directly with kids, because that's really probably the favorite part of my job. So we'll see.
All right, so the one-to-one FaceTime and the administrative, you've experienced it both, so congratulations, and thank you for your 4 times here that you've been on City Spotlight as superintendent. And Shane, the next step for you is you're still the principal for a few more months, but you'll assume the position of superintendent Why did you put yourself in this position and want to take on the responsibilities of leading the school district here in Shelbyville?
Well, it's always been a goal of mine at some point during my educational career. And honestly, I wasn't looking for a superintendent position because, since I've been in Shelbyville, I've been very happy. My family's been very happy, and I see myself here for a very long time. Denise disappointed us at the very beginning of the school year when she told the administrative staff that she was going to be retiring at the end of the year, and we were very disappointed because she's been such a great leader, a great mentor to myself as well. So we were disappointed, and then, I guess the reason why is opportunity. I mean, the opportunity is there. At some point, I was always going to want to do that, and the things that Denise was saying about the district, how the arrows pointed upward, how things are going well, it made it a very attractive position to me. So I guess it was a natural progression.
Okay, very good. As far as I know, it's early. You're still the principal at Shelbyville High School. I'm sure the wheels are turning, and you've thought. Do you have a few goals in mind that you'd like to continue with what Denise has set forth, and things you'd like to see transpire in the near or long term?
Well, as always, you want to evaluate what you have in your district, and Denise mentioned all the renovations that have taken place. I think there's still some things that need to be done. I think everybody would agree. You continually assess your facilities and plan for the future needs of your school children. Also, my philosophy as far as education has always been that we're to prepare our students to be contributing members of society once they graduate from high school. And I've been in a high school setting now for 24 years. So starting next year, I'll get to see, I'll try to be able to have that impact from almost birth to grade 12.
Right.
And I know that we already do a great job of that, and we'll continue to do that because we do have such a great team in place as far as teachers, administrators, and community support as well.
So folks are seeing this at home at the beginning of April, so a couple more months in your respective positions. How will there be the transition or learning time for Shane to learn some of the things that he'll be tackling as a leader of a school district?
Well, we've already, in fact, I just sent him an email the other day that said, let me know if this is too much, because he is doing 2 jobs or trying to assimilate into another job while he's got a full-time job. So anytime there's a decision that we need to make that's going to be a long-term decision, I get him involved and he gets to be part of that. So we'll continue to do that all the way through the end of June. We'll look at the budget for next year together, grants, all those things, just to make sure that he's got everything in place moving forward. And then I've also told him that I'm just a phone call away if he needs anything after that. He's got a great support staff here at the unit office, so he's going to be fine.
And I think that's another thing that made the position attractive to me, is knowing that there would be that transition time where Denise and I could work together and I could kind of get my feet wet a little bit before the actual start date.
Very good. And Denise, why is Shane the right person for this next step in the Shelbyville School District?
Well, Shane's just got a lot of experience, and with experience comes just unshakability, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but he's really good at taking a situation, whether it's a little tenuous or not, and just being very level-headed and looking at all sides of it, and that's a really important part of this job. All the financial part and the grants and all that are the easy part, actually, to learn. It's the, when times get tough, how to keep your head about you, and people are not always going to agree with what you think or say, but understand that, and I believe he always takes what kids need first, and that's how he makes his decisions. So.
Okay, very good. We thank you for guys sharing your thoughts on this this time of change here a little bit. We thank you, Denise, for again your 4 times on the program and kind of sharing how the passing of the baton will happen. And Shane, we look forward to many more times talking with you in the near future in your new role. And obviously, the next time we talk, we'll also probably have a new high school principal. So we'll talk about that at a later time. We thank Denise Bence and Shane Schuricht of the Shelbyville School District. Appreciate your time here on City Spotlight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, very good. Coming up here on City Spotlight, we'll change locations and we'll talk about the arts in Shelbyville with Carol Kessler. But first, let's take a look at some of the upcoming activities going on in Shelbyville. And we're back here on City Spotlight. We continue this on-location episode on Shelbyville. We've changed locations now, and we're going to talk all about the arts in Shelbyville, and we welcome to the program Carol Kessler. She's with Flourishes Gallery and Studios. Carol, welcome to the program.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Pleasure to have you on. Carol is not a first-time guest here on WEIU. She was a storyteller for the Shelbyville This Is Our Story program, so glad to have you back on WEIU, Carol, and we look forward to learning about the arts here in Shelbyville. But again, you're a first-time guest here on City Spotlight. Can you tell our audience at home a little bit about yourself, please?
Okay. I'm a retired art teacher from Pana, and Pana is where I taught, but a long resident of Shelbyville. And after retiring, I had I wanted to stay in the arts and have a gallery to bring the arts to Shelbyville. Not that the arts weren't here, but I wanted to have an outlet that, because I know that the arts are important, and whether they're a professional or they do it as a hobby or a release, it's a kind of a stress reliever. And so I think all the arts are important.
You told me prior to taping that you've been here in Shelbyville for a number of years. I think you said the mid-'70s. Your husband was originally from Shelbyville? Okay. What's kept you guys here, your husband being from here, but what else has kept you here for all these years?
Just like the town and like Illinois and like the location. And
okay, very good. Before we talk about the Shelby County Art Show, let's talk a little bit about the location we're taping in here. Flourishes Gallery and Studios here, downtown Shelbyville off East Main. You've been here about 7 years. Tell us about the building, please.
I opened Flourishes Gallery and Studios a little less than 7 years ago. What happened was I wanted to look for a spot that on the south side of Main Street, that so that any artwork that I would put in windows, that it would not be harmful for them. And so I saw this location, and a great realtor friend of mine made arrangements, and it's been really good.
Excellent.
So I've got lots of room and room for all the arts, because I've got about 4,000 square feet here.
Yes, and we'll get some video of the place that hopefully folks at home are able to see. You're located here on East Main, the heart of downtown Shelbyville, Route 16. You're across the street from the Roxy Borman Theater. And you told me something interesting prior to our taping, that of all the historic buildings here along East Main in this area, you're the only one with an elevator.
Yes, and that's not important to me. It's important that the people who would like to come up have the opportunity to do so.
All right, very good.
And this building, I don't know when it was built, but I do know that the Sparks College was here. Okay. Robert Root's studio, I was told, is here. In fact, it's now my studio. Oh. And the last major thing that was here was the Loyal Order of the Moose. So their stage and ballroom in which we're taping, and the bar area is now the gallery, and the room with the slot machines is now the library, you know, and so it's been fun.
Great history in this building and particular rooms that we're in. Tell us about the things that take place here at Flourishes.
Okay, one of the most active things is our Art Talk Tuesday. We have a group of mostly women who come on Tuesday afternoon. We start at 3 o'clock with a sharing of what's going on in our lives as far as art's concerned, and what we've seen and what we want to pass on. And then we do a project. And so I have an Art Talk Tuesday schedule. Okay. And so we kind of follow that, and many of those who attend have input as to what we do. On the third Thursday of the month, we have the third Thursday Wordsmith. So it's a writing group where it's just, we supporting each other. And not that I'm a writer, even though I have done some, I want that outlet for others who are looking for support or sharing. And we have dance class through Dance Life out of Charleston that takes place in the ballroom here now on Tuesday evenings and Friday evenings. And that'll go through May. We have openings of new shows. That means new shows throughout Flourishes every 2 to 2.5 months.
Okay.
In fact, we opened the new shows in March here. And so we have a fiber artist in the gallery, the permanent three-dimensional artworks in the library, and we have artwork from the schools here, and I'm very thankful to Mrs. Cole and Mr. Mathis because they give me the artwork of the students, and that brings a lot of people into Flourishes to see what is here and hopefully educate them some as to what the possibilities in the arts are.
You have an easel off to the side of our camera that our viewers at home can't see, but it says "Great Art by Shelbyville Students," and I'm seeing patriotic, I'm seeing faces of animals, and a collection of colors of ice cream cones. So.
And Mrs. Cole chooses the best of what the kids have been producing, and we'll have like 3 different shows during the school year openings.
All right, very good. Didn't clarify to our audience at home, may have mentioned it in our first segment with Shelbyville Schools. We're taping this in the latter part of March, but folks at home are seeing this for the first time beginning of April. And coming up here in mid-April is the 53rd Shelby County Art Show that takes place at the Lake Shelbyville Visitors Center. And this year's dates are April 13th and 14th. And Carol, I know you want to talk quite a bit about that.
Okay. Valerie Gaddis and I are co-directors of the Shelby County Art Show, and it brings in 500 to 600 people to view the show. It's not only Shelby County, but any county that is adjoining Shelby County. And it's just a great way to see what's done here, and it's all has to be done within the year.
Correct.
And so we get a lot of school things that usually the school teachers will get to us, but we have a lot of adult work as well. We have adult amateur category, the advanced amateur, and the professionals, as well as a copycat corner. So if they've worked from another artist's photograph or whatever, that we have a place for that. 3-dimensional photography.
So all kinds of art, and as you just mentioned, there are all kinds of skill levels.
Right.
It's interesting to probably see from the youth to the professional to the amateur, the wide variety of, and as we mentioned here at Flourishes, you have a lot of student work, so you do see some student work that shows up at the art. Talk about that experience for those kids, because you, as you mentioned in your Shelbyville Our Story program, it's a learning educational experience.
They are awarded ribbons from a judge, and the judge is there during a critique time on Saturday afternoon from 1 to 3, so that those students or the adults would of course be hearing what the adult judge has to say, and the junior judge takes them individually to their artworks and gives them suggestions or makes comments about how good their artwork is, the good things that they've done.
Right. Always room for improvement, right?
Yes.
All right, very good. You also said demonstrations are done.
Right. And I think Bobby Dimmock is the one who organizes that, and I think we have about 10 each day on Saturday and then on Sunday.
And what is accomplished from those demonstrations?
Well, it's still, again, a learning experience.
Right, okay.
So that people, and some of it's hands-on.
All right, very
But the artist, the demonstrator is there to answer questions and to show their technique. So it might be painters or woodworkers, or we've got a gal who's judging for us that is going to do paper flowers. I have in the gallery area right now, we're working on organic weaving on a stick. And so that's one of the demonstrations that I will be doing. So we'll have an example of that.
Also, you mentioned there's going to be some special exhibits.
Yes.
Featuring works of local artists. You mentioned Mr. Root and also Jack West. You have some great artists from the years back in Shelbyville. So tell us a little bit about those special exhibits.
Well, the special exhibit this year is the work of Ron Bartonen. He's from Sullivan, and he does watercolors and oils and acrylics, and many people collect his work.
All right, very good. Anything else you'd like to share about the 53rd Shelby County Art Show? Must bring great pride. Something's been around that long. What would you like to see from it moving forward? Obviously, more people attend it, more artists.
Sure.
Okay. That's the 53rd.
What I would like to have is the closet artists to come out.
Oh, yes. Excellent.
You know, there's I think a lot of adult artists who only do it for their own pleasure, and I think it ought to be seen by other people.
Yes. All right. Very good. That's April 13th and 14th, the 53rd Shelby County Art Show. And again, that's taking place at the Lake Shelbyville Visitor Center. I can only imagine with a backdrop like Lake Shelbyville here in Shelbyville, for artists such as yourself, does that bring any kind of creative inspiration? With all the nature that you have around you?
Through Flourishes, we have been out to the lake to do plein air painting, and we've been on the Daisy Trail. And we've had, not in the last few years, but time on a Saturday that we called Art in an Hour, where we produced something, started and ended in an hour, and we did that in the mini park that's just down at the end of the block.
And you also have other pieces of art that you and another artist have helped contribute in the community, 20 plus. Can you tell us about those, please?
They're people, life-size people, painted on aluminum.
Okay.
And what we wanted to do is just show the life of Shelbyville, in everyday life. And so it's the businesses who have paid to have us do those for them.
Excellent, very good. So around town you can check those out. In our final minute or two here with you, Carol, we appreciate your time here on City Spotlight. One thing you talked about in your Shelbyville Our Story piece was that people need creative outlets. So could you please elaborate on that and why arts in the community is so important to you?
Well, I just know that for me, it's a stress reliever. I have to do it. And I think there are other people who have to sing, they have to play music, they have to dance, and it's a creative outlet.
Okay, very good. We've been talking here on this second segment here on City Spotlight about the arts in Shelbyville, and we thank Carol Kessler of Flourishes Gallery and Studios. Thank you for coming on the program today, Carol.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that'll do it for this latest episode on Shelbyville. We thank you for joining us here on location for this episode of City Spotlight. We'll see you next time. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com.